Hi everyone, we're on.
I was say, hey boo.
I know, I was spilling some tea.
Thank you for joining us in the comment section. I'm your host, Shirley Phillips.
And I'm Emmanuel Anzules, aka Fox Baldwin,
AKA
on a
Fox
Sunday.
Baldwin. On a Sunday. We are excited to be here, guys. We are, as you can see, we were engaged, immersed in conversation relative to what our topic is today, which is relationships.
All about relationships.
Relationships, and not just romantic relationships.
Friendships as well.
Friendships as well.
With family, like everything. Any type of relationship.
That's what we are doing
cover it.
today. We actually have a cornucopia of questions that people submitted to us months ago that we never really addressed. We had a relationship panel event, and they get very heated and they tend to go long, so we weren't able to address all of the questions, but we found that some of the questions are still recurring.
Yep.
And just of late, we've actually had personal things that came up that we wanted to address. So we will be talking about relationships, and you are more than welcome to chime in on the conversation. You can call in at 347-640-3920, or you can hit us up on Facebook or our Instagram, which is in my comment section.
please hit us up. Please call in.
Please call. Shout out to our loyal fans. Like we are a very small show, but we do have fans that watch us consistently every week.
Yep.
And they do inbox, they do DM, and we appreciate you. So shout out to our loyal, I'm going to say subscribers, but loyal followers.
That's the reason why we continue to come back.
That's why we come back.
When we go down to 0, that's when we will stop.
When we get 0 likes and 0
But if we have
views.
at least one person watching us, that's all the viewership we need.
That's all the viewership we need. So, before I forget, we all know that Mr. Baldwin hates birthdays. We know this. I love birthdays. So he's like the Grinch that stole birthdays.
I hate birthdays.
I'm like Santa Claus.
I hate celebrating. I hate attention on a birthday. I just don't. I'm not a fan of birthdays.
So what had happened was last week we had attempted to surprise him with the cake, and due to traffic and unforeseen contingencies,
It didn't work. I mean, it worked, but after hours.
It worked. But we surprised him after hours with the cake. But I was shopping, and I came across something that reminded me of my boo. So I want him to open it on air.
I had some guesses as to what it was.
It's not it's not alcohol. It looks like alcohol because it's in an alcohol bag, but
It's not. I can already see it.
I don't do alcohol anymore, so
I don't know how I'm supposed to be grabbing it.
be careful with it though.
I feel like I'm grabbing it wrong.
Oh, I also ran out of tissue paper, so it's kind of like left in a Macy's bag.
Thank you, Vanna.
I did the best I could.
Oh my god.
How cute
This is
is
so
it?
cute.
It's a Fox coffee
And
cup.
oh my god.
How adorable is
I am
he?
gonna bring this to work.
I know you are, and you can.
And
think
if
of me.
anybody drinks from it, it's gonna be
It's
a
gonna be a
problem.
problem. I thought it was so adorable.
This is so cute.
And I did not want to part with the Fox. We became friends
You saw it and you were like immediately. Like,
immediately. I'm like, I have to get it. I even showed Danny. I showed Danielle. I'm like, oh.
This is adorable. I think they're so beautiful. Foxes are.
I think so too.
They're so
Like their fur
freaking pretty
is so
and
vibrant.
and they're so wise, and that's why I love a fox.
They're
oh my
crafty.
god, they're super crafty.
Happy birthday, Boo!
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. He's gonna be celebrating all month. He's gonna be celebrating until October the 25th at least, because that will be 30 days of Fox.
Can
30 days
that
of
like
Foxy.
come faster? Because
No, we're not
this
gonna allow
birthday thing
him.
needs to be over.
Never ends. We're not gonna allow him to not celebrate for.
Listen. I don't know what it is, but like, I hit a wall with a birthday one year, and I just felt like I was doing the most. Because I used to celebrate, like on the weekend after my birthday, the weekend before, I would have 3 celebrations. Right? I wanted all the attention and all the things.
You should.
But then one year, I set up a dinner and a club outing, and one friend showed up to the club. Like 3 people showed up to dinner.
In your 30s or in your 20s?
I was in my late 20s.
In your late 20s.
And I said, you know what? From now on, if I celebrate a birthday, it's gonna be a destination birthday, and then whoever wants to come can come. If they can't make it, oh well. I will even go by myself to celebrate my birthday.
I'm actually not mad at that idea.
Yep. So
And
for my 30th, I planned a trip to Miami with some friends. Well, it was initially a solo trip, but then some friends wanted to come along, and they were more than welcome. Yeah, so it was a group of 7 of us, which was great. But then after that,
did you prepay for it, or
so I set up all the details for it. Like, here's the flight information, here's the hotel we're staying at, and then people kind of like latched on to the planning of it. So
to the planning, that's the hardest part. Is that people commit? They say, "Oh, I'm coming. Yep, I'm coming," and then you end up
and that's
putting
what I
all
don't
this
have
money
time
out,
for.
and nobody has time for that.
Yeah. So here's where I'm gonna be. These are the days. This is the flight I'm going on. If you come, great. If not, I'll see you when I'm back in New York. Exactly.
That's so. I'm surprised that you said that, or glad that you said that, because it happened a couple of times this month where I was invited to events. I'm not gonna say which events or who they were for, but I was invited to events, several. And people tend to RSVP and then don't show. They RSVP. Not only do they not show, it's like no call, no show.
Oh God.
Which I think
that will get you fired in retail.
It'll get you fired.
Yep.
It'll get you fired in our jobs. You have to at least let someone know that you're not coming.
I think that is so rude.
Don't RSVP if you're not 100%
so
certain that you're coming.
I have a friend from work who is maybe like 7 or 8 years younger than I am. He had a birthday over the summer. He invited a whole bunch of people. It was like a birthday after work kind of thing. And he was, he's not the type of person that likes attention. He doesn't like, seek it or need it for validation or anything like that. But people were committing to his birthday. It was on a Friday. People were telling him that they were going to go. And then last minute, he got all these text messages from people saying like giving him some random excuses.
I don't like, I can't.
So he's like questioning. He's like me when I was that age, realizing that birthdays were just not gonna happen the way that I wanted them to. So,
but
it's a
to
lesson
me
you have
that
to learn.
means that's not your friend, though.
Yeah, they're
because
definitely
real friends don't do that to their friends.
Definitely
and
not your friends.
Again, ties into our topic because we need to make some distinctions. And I know I've been guilty, even of late, of giving people the moniker of friend, and they're not. Maybe they're just a coworker, or maybe they're just an acquaintance, or just someone that I've met through someone else.
Or a friend who you consider a good friend or a best friend or whatever, and they're just a hater.
They're haters.
It happens.
It happens.
Haters come in the form of friends.
They do. And
you have to distinguish, right?
Even like friendships that have terminated for me, like friends that I have been friends with for years, before I was even adult. Sometimes when those friendships terminate over something trivial, it's because that person was never your friend in the first place.
Yeah.
Because if you genuinely have a friend, you don't want to lose that friend. You're going to do everything in your power to make that relationship work. So if you have one disagreement or one fallout, and then all of a sudden we're done, we're not friends, then you were never my friend in the first place.
You were never my friend, yeah.
There's no way. I had exes that we broke up. The breakup was bad, but because we were friends first, we decided to, at least salvage the friendship, and it's fine. So I don't know, but I see it a lot, and as I said, it's come up a couple of times in the past month or so, but me and several other people that I know, and
do you ever question if the fact that you're noticing more often that these friends are not really friends, they're whatever else other than a friend, has anything to do with you?
Absolutely it does.
Because I question it all the time. I had dinner with a friend from college, and we were talking about what kind of person I was when I was in my late teens, early 20s, and I don't think I was very likable.
Why?
Because I was a lot less guarded. I was more likely to curse you the hell out and tell you about yourself. I did not tolerate BS.
No filter.
Zero filter whatsoever. Like, it was almost like I had nothing to lose.
But that's how a lot of people are. I was that way.
That's how I was when I was in college. All through college, right? I've made multiple people cry. I used to make people feel really uncomfortable. People did not want to hang out with me, boys and girls, like men and women. So I started to realize it. I'm like, damn, was I that bad? When a lot of my girlfriends from college, these female friends I had, were getting married, and I was not getting invited to any of those weddings.
And these were your people that you thought were your friends.
These were people that I thought were my college friends, and they knew how I was, and they were willing to like put up with me regardless. But then a few years after college, 3 of them got married, and I was not invited to any of their
Wow.
weddings. And I thought that our relationship was like,
You didn't get
was
invited.
solid. I did not
Forget
get
about
invited.
being in the wedding. You weren't invited.
I didn't want to be in the wedding. I would have appreciated an invite.
But I'm just saying, like, I'm not even invited, man.
I'm not even invited. Out of courtesy. You know how sometimes people invite you just because they've, like, they're inviting everybody else and they feel like they need to
Were
invite
they
you
large
out
weddings?
of courtesy. 2 of them were pretty large, and one of them was in a backyard. One of them was a backyard wedding.
Intimate.
With, like, a tent. And the word on the street was that there were people there whom these people invited from college that they weren't even
They
close
weren't even
to
that close
in
with
college.
them.
So I get it. People have different relationships with different people. I totally understand. But if I was close to you in college and we haven't spoken in years,
Yeah.
I'm still going to extend an invitation
Because you were my good
there
friend and-
at a significant moment in my life, right?
I agree.
So
I
I started
agree.
to question, like, damn, maybe it was me. Maybe I was terrible as a friend or as a person, and that is the reason why I don't have many friends.
But
from
see, that's
college.
that's the issue that I have is if we are calling each other friends, okay, you should be able to come to me and say, Shirley, these are the issues that I'm having right now with your behavior.
Mhm.
You're making me feel intimidated, or you're making me feel like, you know, you're selfish.
I mean, if they're intimidated, Shirley, are they really gonna come up to you? If you
Okay, let me reword that.
the type of person that's gonna curse them out, they're not
They're
gonna.
not,
correct
okay, well, okay, so let's rephrase it. Shirley, I really don't like the way that you talked to me, or I didn't appreciate the way you spoke to me. That's just grown woman stuff, or grown man stuff. You have to be able to stand up for yourself and speak up when something's bothering you, and a lot of people don't.
They don't.
They don't. They hold it in, or they'll gossip,
They
you know.
will definitely gossip.
they'll talk, and then it's always going to come back to me. I've had things come back to me that wasn't even supposed to get back to me, just because that's how God works. God always shows me what I need to see when I'm minding my business, and I'm just chilling, and then all of a sudden I
People will
get
be
tea
gossiping.
spilled in my lap about me, and it's like,
About me. Right. So.
oh, Nate said Shirley should come to Cancun.
Why would he say that right now?
Nate, I have a job, sir. I can't.
Why would? Okay, Nate, thanks.
Thank you, Nate. I'll see
No,
what
but
I
I
can do.
already invited you.
Yes, he did invite me. He invited me.
The
Nate.
dates just don't work.
The dates just don't work. So it was not him being shady. He
What?
definitely invited me. I can't with Nate.
Why would he?
No, he was saying that you were a real friend.
Oh, right. No, but I definitely invited you.
He did invite me, but I
She
had
was
a
the
job.
first person I invited,
Exactly.
even when the trip was not planned.
It was a glitter in his eye.
It was a
twinkle in his
glitter,
eye.
yep.
But he did invite me. But I was gonna say that a lot of the tension and animosity in these broken friendships comes because people are not speaking up for themselves. They're not being honest. And there's a difference between, like what you just described, someone that's maybe abrasive, mean, inconsiderate, right? Thoughtless with their words.
Oh, God.
And someone that's just direct and truthful. And I am a very direct, truthful person. I do not have a poker face. I'm a Pisces, so we're already very emotional and animated. So I cannot sit and let things fester. I have to address it immediately because I can't. I physically get sick when something's bothering me. And so,
Right. And I'm the same way when it comes to things that really matter to me.
yes.
Like, if
yes.
it's something that I could not care less about,
It blows off.
I don't care. Like, you won't catch me, like, being confrontational about it.
You're absolutely
But if
right.
I really care about it, like, you will notice it. My entire demeanor changes.
Mhm.
My energy shifts. And people will know. That
And
there's
you will
something on
address
my
it.
mind. Yeah. I'm not afraid to address things. But I feel like I was very unpolished when I was in college.
Yes. Uncouth.
So I did not have that level of finesse.
But you were a kid. You're
I was a
20,
kid.
You're a baby. You don't.
And
you
I thought
don't-
that was funny. Like, I thought it was comedic, and I thought people were gonna be entertained by the drama. I was practicing for a spot on the real world,
But
you know. So it was like I was trying to like cause drama with people.
Foxy was a bully. He was
But
a
people
whole
thought I was being
bully.
mean. Like they thought that was really that was my heart. But I was not. I was not like that.
But you know what? So now let's revisit. So is it okay if that's just someone's personality? Like, do you feel that people should be able to live? Like, if that's just who I am, that's just who I am. You either like it or you don't, and deal with it or you don't.
Yeah, I feel like people are multifaceted.
Yes.
Like, we may be direct, we may be truthful, confrontational, intimidating, right? But I feel like there is more to that than just that. Like, there's more to a person than just those qualities.
I agree. And
So
I
if
think
you're
your
a
real friends will see that.
You can see that.
Your real friends will
So
see
the
that.
ones that are still my friends from college were able to look past that. I made them cry a few times, but they were able to see that I was a good person. They were able to get past it.
A bitch with a heart. He was a
I
bitch with a
I
heart.
would curse you out, but then I would cook you dinner.
I also feel bad. I feel because I'm working on it. I actually have a life coach now and a trainer. So I'm working on the total package.
I'm not even going to talk about the fact that you have a life coach when you have a life coach right in front of you.
Excuse me, sir. You don't have time for me. Fox does not have
this
time
year.
for me.
Not this year.
I can't. So
Are you
I'm
trying to get the glitter off?
There's glitter from this damn
I
thing.
have glitter too, and I hate
It's glitter everywhere, but I do know that I have a temper. I have accepted it. And the first person that ever told me, okay, my mother, okay, God rest her soul, she would tell me, and I'm an only child, so nobody knows me or knew me better than my mother. She would tell me all the time, you're mean. I said, what do you mean? How? I give to the homeless, I buy people gifts, how am I mean, ma'am? And she just said, you're mean. She said, your words are mean. She said, you're very inconsiderate with your words. She also said I was selfish. She said you're not, no, excuse me. She said you're self-centered. She said you're not selfish, you're self-centered. Meaning you are in the middle of everything. And if you're not in the middle of everything, then you become basically a brat. She said you're not selfish because you do give and you're very generous and you're thoughtful, but you're self-centered. And I fought her to the end of it. I'm not taking this diagnosis. I don't believe that I'm that way.
How old were you when she told you?
She told me that my entire life. You're mean.
Yeah.
Like one time, I'll give you an example. She was doing laundry, and I guess everything was in the wash. So she went into my drawer and got like one of my tank tops that I never wore ever. I never wore this tank top. I wasn't thinking about the tank top. So I come home from school,
And she's wearing.
and I'm like,
top.
why are you wearing my tank top? Like, take off my shirt. Like, why do you have my shirt on? And she's like, I can't believe that you're so selfish. She's like, you weren't even thinking about this shirt. And I was livid. Like, that's my shirt.
Oh my God.
Why do you have my shirt on? I was a brat. This is my mother who gave me everything, her only child, and she just took the shirt off and threw it at me. And it's like, I'm sick of you. Like, I'm tired of you.
Titties out.
Yeah, she's like, just take it. And then I felt bad. So then after that, I'm like, damn, that was kind of messed up. So I gave her the shirt. I'm like, you can have it. She's like, I don't want the shirt. I don't want it. So I had to buy her flowers.
Oh my
I felt
God.
really bad afterwards because I'm like, that's selfish. And then one time, this is really going to make you bad. This is really going to make you mad. There was this family who shall remain nameless because I'm still friends with some of them on Facebook. But they lived next door, and they were very, 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 very poor. Like, if we were poor, then they were dirt poor. Okay? So there's, like, levels to this poverty stuff. So I had, like, this bag of clothes that I never wore because they were either too small or they were just old. I didn't want them anymore. I always had extra stuff because I was the only child, so I had stuff just laying around. So my mom, while I'm at school, everything went down while I was at school. Like, she was at home, homemaker, so everything went down when I was at school. So I come home from school, and I'm like, where's the bags, the clothes? Like, where's my stuff? And she's like, oh, I gave it to, so-and-so next door. So they were like, they didn't have any clothes. I'm like, you gave my stuff to them? Like, why would you do that? And she's like, you're not wearing it. You're not thinking about it. Like, why? How can you be like that? And I'm like, so I took the L. The kid that she gave the stuff to was in my class.
Oh my
Ready?
God. Shirley.
Jesus,
How
please
old
take
were
the wheel.
you?
I was probably like 10 or 11. So the girl comes to school one day
Sporting your old
in
stuff.
one of my sweaters.
Did people know that was your sweater?
No. I don't think they knew.
Because that would have been tragic.
But they knew once after I told them.
Oh my
Because I
God.
embarrassed her in the lunchroom. I'm like, take off my sweater. My mama gave you that sweater. You need to take off my clothes. Your family's... It was awful. And the girl was just like... Like, she didn't cry, but she was just, like, so mortified. And years later, I apologized to her. I was like, when I was a teenager, like 17, 18.
And now she is the first lady of
right now she's
Michigan.
Hillary Clinton. No. But I was.
She's running for president.
I was awful. And now, as an adult, I can see, just like you can see, I can see, like, yeah, you were wrong. So self-reflection is one, and then people just being honest. Tell the person if they're a bitch, they're a bitch. Like, tell them, because how are they gonna change?
Most people aren't honest, and like I used to work at a school that shall remain nameless, where everyone was walking around and not communicating with someone that worked there. A fellow teacher, they were not telling this person that they thought she was a bitch.
Was she like an administrator or
no?
A teacher?
She was a teacher.
Just the teacher.
Just the teacher. But the way that she came across to people was rubbing everyone the wrong way. People would like talk about her behind her back. They would hold meetings about her, and nobody told her that she was a bitch. And I felt bad because this lady's my friend too, so I went up to her and I was like, hey, can we have a conversation?
But were these her friends that were her friends?
They were co-workers, but I've always known that the perception that you have of someone may not be necessarily what that person thinks of themselves.
Yes.
So in that moment, I'm thinking like everybody thinks of her as this, but she doesn't see herself as that. And nobody is telling her, so she has no room for reflection and introspection, right? So I went to her and I had a little meeting, one-on-one.
Closed door
and
meeting.
It was very tense because she felt like I was attacking her a bit. But I was like, the point of me coming to you is to let you know that this is a perception that people have of you. This is what people are thinking of you right now. So we need to do something about it and change it.
How did she, like, what did she say?
She was like, I had no idea.
She had no idea.
She had no idea that people were saying that about her. She had no idea that she was coming across that way.
Like, give me an example of something that she would do that was offensive.
She would, the way that she spoke to the kids is exactly how she spoke to staff. So, like, if she was one of those.
So she's condescending, kind of.
Condescending, right? Like, you would say good morning to her. She would walk past you.
Okay.
She wouldn't say anything.
One of those.
And a lot of times, it was just because she was super stressed. She was going through a lot of personal issues.
I
knew that because I was her friend. Like, I hung out with this woman outside of work, right? I knew what she was going through. People at work didn't, because she didn't put her life out there for them to know. So without me coming and telling her that this is the perception that you're giving to others, she would have never known.
So the problem I guess I have with it, were people distancing themselves from her, or were they still like, hey,
they
girl?
They were still smiling in her face.
See, that's the part that I don't like.
They were still smiling. So again, she would have never known.
Okay. Hello, Alex, and hello, Joseph. Thank you for joining us. I have an issue with.
She would have had zero idea.
That, like,
but I'm that one though. Like, if I know people are talking about you, I'm gonna tell you.
You didn't tell me when them hoes was talking about me.
What hoes? Who was talking about you, Shirley?
Is it time for a commercial break? No, I'm joking.
Wait, who was talking about you?
Nobody.
Imagine.
You would tell me.
But they would know better to not even.
I don't know what I was going to say. I don't think they would
talk
around you because they know you're going to tell me.
And they know.
And
people know.
They know.
Yeah, they're not going to talk shit about you. And I would ask people, because we used to work at the same school. Shirley worked maybe, I think it was like 5 years after I worked there. So we know the same people.
We know the same people.
So regardless of how you rubbed them, they would have never communicated that to me. No, they would have never, because they knew that you were my friend.
I am one for being honest. However, the truth can be a hard pill to swallow. Thank you, Alex. The truth is hard to swallow, but you have to swallow it. It's what I call a jagged pill.
Right.
It's like something you don't want to take, you don't want to digest it, but you know that it's going to make you better. It's medicine. And if you're uncomfortable with the truth, there's a reason why. Like, why is it that you're so closed-minded that you don't want to accept someone else's perspective or someone else's point of view about you? Especially when everyone else is when everyone's saying the same thing, everybody can't be wrong. They can't. If it's just one person that doesn't like you, still take their opinion into consideration.
Yep.
But when it's 50 people saying the same thing about you, then it's like, you know what?
Maybe it's time to change. Yeah.
Maybe I should stop.
And I feel like that's what this world needs a little more of.
Truth serum.
truth serum. Like, there's not enough of it out there. Like, everybody's so concerned with being politically correct and being careful of how people feel and emotions and all that. But I feel like if more people knew what areas they could improve on or grow,
Yeah.
right, we would have, I don't know, our world would be
No,
a lot better.
I have, like I said, a life coach, and this person,
Is
we
it
had difficult conversations.
Man or woman?
It's a man, because women sometimes tend to sugarcoat things. So, you know, he actually has known me for a while, so he's seen like the evolution of me, like who I have become versus who I was however many years ago it was, and he pointed out some things that are trends, algorithms in my personality that he's noticed, and he's like, I think this is why you get stuck in kind of the same rut.
You know, a lot of it has to do with your childhood, right?
That's what he said. That's what he said, and he pinpointed just a lot. And I'm like, you know what? That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I took the information. It was very difficult, and I did, you know, fight him a little bit in the beginning. But, you know, after I reflected on it, I'm like, you know what? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And
the older we get too, the more likely we are to want to change. Because, again, when I was in my 20s, if somebody had told me about myself, I would have been like, you're a hater.
you're a hater.
You're trying to dim my shine.
Because it's ego.
Yeah, like, you're a fucking hater. Get
It's
over
ego.
yourself. You're emotional. You're sensitive. Whatever. Truth hurts. Howard has said stuff like that.
100% that bitch.
But now, like,
You're
I'm
older,
more...
and you have your experience. Experience is the best teacher. So, you know, I was actually just explaining this to one of my students, because they were like, well, why do we have to give older people respect? It's not fair. Like, you have to earn respect. And I'm like, no, they don't. The fact that they're older than you, they've already earned their respect because they have more wisdom than you. And it's not about degrees, and it's not about education. It's your time
Life
on the earth
experience.
is experience. And because they have it, you need to listen to what they say. Alex says that's true, or that's their truth. Everyone writes their own truth. Absolutely. And, you know, you can choose to take the information or not, but at the end of the day,
If you want to continue seeing patterns, right,
or if you're trying to get to a goal and you find that you can't get to the goal, there's something.
there's a recurring theme or whatever the case is, it's
There's something.
it's time to
There's something.
time to change
A
it.
real friend will tell you the truth, whether you want to hear it or not.
Yep.
But like you were saying earlier, at what point, someone had a question. They were saying, at what point does friendly advice or truthful friendly advice become like too much? Like, how much am I supposed to consider of what my friends say before I just say, you know what, I have to make my own decisions, or like he just said, you know, write my own truth? Because sometimes friends keep giving you unsolicited advice, unsolicited truths, but you already know that you're not going to do what it is they're asking you to do or stop doing. So as a friend, when do you just say, you know what, I'm keeping my mouth shut?
I think it also depends on the type of person that you are. Some people like friends like that around them all the time, but if you're the type of person that doesn't want your friends' input and you don't want those types of people around you, then you're going to start blocking them off.
You're
I
going to
feel
start blocking them off.
you're going to start distancing yourself from people like that. I was on social media a few days ago and I saw a meme that said that you have different friends for different situations.
Yes.
Like, you have some friends that are there for you with a crisis. You have some friends that are there for entertainment. Some
Only
friends
for,
are there.
only for that specific
Yeah.
purpose?
Like, you have friends that you will call if there's like a death or if there's a tragic situation going on, because you know that you can depend on them. They're dependable and reliable.
So all friends aren't dependable and reliable?
Some can cross over, but some, for the most part, they don't.
Really? So is that
Like-
my friend, though?
When I mean, friends come in different shapes, right? Sizes and purposes. I had friends in my 20s that I would only call when I wanted to go out, or if I wanted to go to dinner, or if I wanted to have a good time. But I wouldn't call them if I had a real life situation going on.
So there's there's categories of friends.
Once you can pass a certain, like for the entertainment friends, right? I feel like once you realize that you can trust them and count on them, they go on to the next level, and now not only are they there for
They passed.
entertainment, but they're also there for you to call on and cry on and all of that.
They've graduated.
They've
Or
graduated.
it's very cliche, but the whole reason, season, lifetime, you know, that's true. Just because we were besties when I was 22,
People change.
people change. So maybe you don't have a place in my life anymore.
People change. And then, so like, I have some very good friends whom I've known for over 10 years who have graduated past all the levels. And now they're at a point where they feel like they have ownership
Yes.
over my life.
Yes.
And I'm kind of stuck in the middle. Like, do I listen to them? Do I listen to their advice? Because I know they want the best for me, right?
They do want the best for you. I'm reading the comment. I have my contacts in, excuse me. It says, yes, I agree. Respect older individuals. They made it that far, and you're not guaranteed to see the age. A lot of people don't make it. You're absolutely right. And I will say this. My grandparents used to say, old fools used to be young fools. So you can't necessarily take advice from everyone just because they're older. You do need to respect the fact that they have life experience. But it's some old fools out here that don't know, you know, up from down. But
Yep.
in terms of dealing with people, they have insight that I don't have yet because I haven't been on the earth as long as they have. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't know, it's tricky. But I think that, especially at my age, I'm 43, I'm kind of at a crossroads because it's like I'm not old enough to be considered an elder, but then I'm not young enough to be considered like the youth.
You're still
like
in
literally
your
in
prime.
the middle.
You're still in your prime.
But I see how relationships around me are changing, and a lot of it is because of me. Like my interests and where I deposit my time and my energy, I'm very cautious now, and I have.
Has your group of friends become smaller?
Yes, my group of friends is definitely dwindling each year.
So how many, like when you were fresh out of college, how many friends would you say you had?
If you asked me when I was fresh out of college how many good friends I had, I'd probably say I have about 15, 20 good friends.
Yeah,
like
same.
And now I have like my group of friends from high school that no matter how far we are, you know, how long we go without speaking, we always come back together, and that's my core group of friends because they knew me before I was who I am. And I respect those relationships because I wouldn't be who I am without those relationships. But then
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, Alex. We
Alex, what do you do? Because we're
Alex,
looking
tell
for
us a little
guests.
bit.
One of the hosts of the.
Oh,
The other show. Oh,
Never
okay,
mind.
got it. We got it.
just kidding, Alex.
We're bad with names.
You can come by.
Come by. You should have came by
I know.
today.
Drop by.
Stop by.
Come by now.
Come by. We'll leave a light on for you.
Well, next is the. How young?
Yes. Oh, yes. We're gonna take a quick break, you guys. But as you can see, this is like
We have so much.
there's so much that we need to talk
Charlie
about.
has so much in his little notebook.
He keeps making fun of my notebook, but I need it because, as you can see, I have issues staying focused. But we're going to take a break. We'll come right back, and we will address the questions that we did post earlier in regards to children and exposing them, or when you should expose them to sex, birds and the bees, in,
Yeah.
in 2019. So please come back. Comment section.
Oh, I was sitting in my front yard, staring at the sky so beautiful, so hungry but the fridge was empty, so I decided to go and get some food. Smile's the prettiest thing to wear, don't you know? Smile's the prettiest thing to wear, don't you know? Smile's the prettiest thing to wear, don't let it fade. Smile's the prettiest thing you can wear. I got $2 in my pocket, that's all I have. $2 in my pocket, that's all I have. $2 in my pocket, that's all I have. But nothing's gonna bring me down anymore. I was laying in my bed, staring at the ceiling when all the odds being
become one of the enlightened ones. All right, we are back. Thank you for joining us. I hate you. I am Shirley Phillips. This is the comment section, and we are doing a show that's a little, what's the word I'm looking for?
All over the place.
All over the place. It's not our normal format, but we wanted to address this issue of relationships and, you know, how to deal with the different types of relationships and friendships.
Yep.
Not just romantic. We're going to get to romantic in a minute. But I was telling Foxy that I saw on television, and this is going to lead into the question that people are asking us to answer online. I saw on the news that Sesame Street has decided to tackle the opioid crisis, and they are now creating a character that has, I think it's a parent. I think it's a parent that has an opioid addiction, and so the Muppet is like staying with the neighbor because the mom is in rehab or something crazy. And I think it's ridiculous. I do not want if I had a child, I would not want my 4-year-old learning that, you know, O is for opioid. I don't want that. I don't think my child needs to know about opioids at 4. I do think that if a child is dealing with that, then that needs to be handled on a one-on-one basis by the counselor or by whoever, you know, is in charge, but it doesn't apply to all children.
Right.
So I feel like Sesame Street and shows like that, they should tackle issues that most children will encounter. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say most children in the world will not have to deal with a parent that has an opioid addiction. Are there a lot of kids that deal with it? Yes. But the masses will not. I did not really have a big issue with, they touched on homosexuality and having, you know, I have 2 mommies or I have 2 daddies. That I didn't really have a big issue with because that's everywhere.
So I don't have an issue with the opioid thing.
You don't? Why?
I feel like it's the earlier you expose, like it's not like you're giving them a drug and saying, here, try it, right? Like you're exposing them to differences and you're kind of like building up their empathy too. Because then once they know about something, kids are very curious. And I was telling you about like kids wanting to know what a vagina was, right? I feel like the more you expose them to and just give them a quick version that's age appropriate, I think the better critical thinkers they will be in the future. Because then they'll be able to make connections and they'll be able to understand people and the differences that every person brings.
At 4 though?
At 4. Yeah, it's if you pitch it to them in an age appropriate manner,
yeah,
I think there's nothing wrong with that. I can see why people though are getting up in arms about it.
I just see like the different deficits and gaps that kids have, and I just feel like it's because you're not learning how to read and write because the world is inundating you with information that you don't necessarily need to have. I do think they need, like you said, cultural awareness, and they need to know, you know, social issues that they're eventually going to see. But we're forgetting the basics, and so a lot of these kids are coming to school with almost too much information to the point where they can't concentrate on what it is they need to be focusing on. But I don't know. I guess I don't know. I wish there was a way they could like tailor the episode to like the geographic location, because like the Midwest is getting hit hard.
I'm sure they say the same. Like when we rolled out the episode with the homosexual parents.
Yeah, a lot of people were
in
like
the Midwest were probably like, this doesn't apply to us, right? In the same way that we say opioids don't apply to them.
But we were leading into this question that I got from someone, and I actually wanted to know myself, being a teacher of middle school, is given the fact that kids are having sex at a much earlier rate or age than they were when we were younger. I'm talking like 10 and 11-year-olds. For those of you that are not around kids or have not been in a middle school lately, it's happening in 5th grade.
Yeah.
They're getting pregnant, they're having sex, they're getting STDs. What should be an acceptable age to start having these talks? And I'm not just talking about, hey, you have a vagina, hey, you have a penis. I'm talking about hardcore. This is what this is what sex is. This is what can happen if you have sex too soon. This is what happens if you get because we can't keep turning a blind eye to it, and I feel like a lot of the kids, at least the ones that I'm interacting with, they're very ignorant about
Yeah. Even high school students.
Repercussions of
Even
having sex.
adults. Even adults.
There are adults that don't know. They can't explain to you how a baby is made, like the science behind it. They don't know what a fallopian tube is. They don't know why the penis gets erect. There are whole adults that don't know that. And I just wanted to know, what do you think?
Yep.
I think that maybe, honestly, I think about 4th grade is fair, because a lot of girls are getting their periods, believe it or not, 9, 10 years old. And I think once your child, or girls in particular, get their menstrual cycle, it's time to have a talk. Because
I think it starts with identifying body parts, right? From the age of like 2 and 3. And I've always been a believer that you should name the body parts exactly how
what they are.
what they are, right? Because then kids are able to then use that information and continue to like grow their knowledge
Yeah.
of human anatomy and how things function.
And how things function.
I think when they're in elementary school, you should start talking to them about like where babies come from. You know, not like
the
you don't have to like be explicit about it, but you should let them know that, you know, a man and a woman, and go on from there. I think everything in moderation and with a level of age appropriateness will lead to better results and a lot more informed preteens who know about STDs, who know about the repercussions of sex and
So
pregnancy.
what type of like visuals do you show them? Videos? Do you draw pictures? Like, how do you make those visual connections to
I
what
think
you're
it's
saying?
you shouldn't. I don't know if you should show them videos, right? But
Pornhub.
you should imagine. But you should definitely like show them body parts and what they look like.
Yeah.
And what the function of these body parts are.
Yeah. Even like going back to what you said about not having an issue with opioids, and both of us said we didn't have an issue with Sesame Street talking about homosexuality. I think there are kids, like you said, when you were younger, you already knew you were gay. So I think that for those kids that might be having those feelings already, they need these talks. They need to know that this is what it is. This is why I feel this way.
Oh, absolutely. I would have been a whole different person. I feel like my confidence would have been a lot higher when I was in middle school and in high school if somebody had sat down and spoken to me about life and about how my identity mattered and how my identity, even though I may have been the only gay boy in my class, how I was important.
That you know
and
of.
That I know, exactly, that I know of, right? But nobody had those conversations with us. I think we used to have family health. It was like a sex ed class, but they would talk about like alcoholism and drug abuse and stuff like that, and how to like lead healthy relationships. They had a class in 7th and 8th grade, and that was the earliest that I learned human anatomy. But I already knew 7th and 8th grade. But myself, I already knew. I had done my own investigating. I knew what sex was. I mean, I was pretty advanced.
Did your
for
parents
my
know?
age. My parents did not know that I knew, but they knew.
They knew.
I mean, I was an advanced
Suspected.
little kid. You know, like whenever they were talking in code about sex, like I knew they were talking about it.
Did your parents used to spell things out like you didn't know how to spell?
No.
My mom used to spell things out.
So my parents would use words like code words or like expressions, and I'm like, dude, I know what that means.
I know what that means.
Like, you're not hiding it from me. I just wish that my parents, and I love my parents, they did a great job raising me, right? But I wish that they had been more honest in their conversations with me. But they didn't know how to do it. So I'm glad that there are shows like Sesame Street stepping up and doing it.
I guess so.
In that way. Like, think about the kids that we teach. We're not in the suburbs.
We're not in the suburbs.
We're in the Bronx, where shit is real.
But they're just...
It's real.
It's
so if
real,
we're
but...
not talking to them about it, where are they getting their information?
Where are they getting information? But then what information are they getting? Because I definitely had a conversation this past week with my class. We were discussing the lead crisis in Newark, New Jersey. So I'm talking, and then I'm writing on the whiteboard, and I hear all this mumbling. I'm like, what is it? And they're like, you spelled New York wrong. I said, what? That's not how you spell New York. I said, it's Newark, New Jersey.
You should have said, oh, my bad. I mess up sometimes.
They had never heard of Newark,
Of
New
course they
Jersey,
hadn't.
which is literally, 20 minutes away from here? I'm
I
like,
teach in the Bronx, and my kids wouldn't know what the capital of New Jersey is, and these are 16 and 17-year-olds.
but you know about chlamydia, and you know about opioids, but you don't know and have never heard of the city of
Yep.
Newark. Like, that's the issue that I have. It's like they're being exposed to too much, and I don't know.
But think about who is showing them all of this, or
Well, it's everywhere. It's on the internet.
what avenue they're seeking it from, right? Like, if you have full internet access and you're a little kid with an iPhone
And you're home alone.
and you're home alone, you're gonna go on the internet and research all these things. But it's not like somebody sitting with you and explaining to you and educating you, right? You're just looking stuff up on your own, and you have all these questions and nobody there to process it with you.
I feel like
It's age appropriate though for kids to look at porn when they're like 9 and 10 years old,
yeah.
and people are gonna think that we're crazy and saying that, but it's pretty
It's
age appropriate
I knew
because you're inquisitive at that age, and there's nothing wrong with that.
there's nothing wrong with
But
it.
you need somebody there to process it with you.
I don't know what's happening. Like, I was
You're seeing
very
things.
aware of my vagina when I was young. I knew what it was for. I knew it had something to do with having babies, and I knew that it had something to do with men and women
Mm-hmm.
coming together. I didn't know how to explain it. I wasn't stupid, but you're right. Had I had someone sit me down early and be like, "This is what it is. This is why it feels that way," like,
But what most parents would do with kids who are exposed, like if you're a parent and you walk in on your kid looking at porn, the first thing most parents will do is get mad.
yeah.
And then that immediately says something to the kid, like whatever message is sent to their brain. So now the kid is associating sex and bad, you know? So instead of doing that, like, we should really communicate with our kids.
normal.
Kids are sponges, and they're looking for information. They're looking for people who they can trust.
That they can trust, and if no one's filling in the blanks, they're going to fill it in for themselves, or the streets are going to fill it
Exactly.
in. And that's what you don't want. So we wanted to take some of
Exactly.
these questions before we run out of time again, that we got submitted via Instagram and Facebook. So this is in regards to relationships, romantic relationships. It says, actually, let's start with the hot topic of the day. If you find or if you see your friend's boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife cheating, if you and I are friends and you see their spouse, their boyfriend, girlfriend cheating, as a friend, do you tell your friend what you saw, or do you just mind your business?
I would tell my friend what I saw.
Why?
But I would also tell the person that I saw
That you saw.
that I saw them.
I saw you. I saw what you did.
So I would go up to Charles and I would be like, Charles, I see you. I see what you're doing. Just so you know, I'm going to tell.
I'm
going to
telling.
tell. Because that's my friend, and this ain't right, bro.
This ain't right. So what people said to me, I got mixed reviews. Interestingly enough, a lot of men were like, no, mind your business.
Of course.
Because they said you don't know who that person is. If I'm out having dinner, having coffee with a young lady, they said, that could be my coworker, that could be a cousin, like, you don't know who that is. And I said, no, you can tell when someone's having an innocent meet up with
Like
somebody.
you're in a business meeting, right? But if it's a romantic restaurant,
You can tell the distance between the body
Yes.
language. Like, come on.
if
And
the woman is wearing something like sexy, you see what I'm saying, and the lights are dim, like, you can tell that that's a different.
But I'm telling
atmosphere.
regardless. I don't care where
What
you are.
what if
I'm
you text
telling.
your friend and then you let your friend know what you just saw, and your friend is fully aware that that's what's going on?
Well, that's what a lot of women said. They were like, your friend might be with it. Like, she may know who that is, and she may not care.
So that's what you need to have proof, sweetie. That's what you need to have, a video or a photo of what you saw, so that you can then bring that back. Because if I have a video of this woman in a sexy red dress holding my man's hand, right, then there's nothing left for the imagination.
I just feel
'Cause
like
I already know what's going on.
all of that, like, you're absolutely right. I have textual evidence. I have the video. I have the picture. But I just feel like my duty and my responsibility is to be your friend and to do what's in your best interest as your friend. I don't have anything to do with whether or not you believe me, whether or not you take him
Here's the
back.
info.
Here's the info that
Do
I
with it
found.
what
As
you
your
will.
friend, you can do with it what you want.
Yeah.
So I had one friend who said she did that on a couple of occasions where she was out, actually, like, in another city. kicking it with a group of other girls, saw someone's husband,
Oh my god.
like obviously entertaining another woman, hugged up, kissing, and she told. And she said it got turned around on her. You know, the friend was like, "Why are you making things up? My husband would never do that. Do you want my husband? Like, why are you making up lies on my husband? My husband
Oh
wasn't
my
in that
God.
city. I have proof that he wasn't even in that city that weekend." And she said, "Never again." And then one
Well,
time,
that's why her dumbass should have taken a video or taken a picture. Yup, you can't. You gotta have proof nowadays.
you gotta have evidence.
Like if you were taking this shit to court, is it enough to just say yes, Your Honor, I saw this happen? No, you need to have something there to back you up.
to back you up, and I don't know. And then she said, well, the other situation that she saw, she told her
She's just a magnet for drama.
for
this
drama, and she
She
told
sees
the one,
everything.
and
She's the cheating whisperer.
the wife still stayed with the guy, and she's like, why are you with him if I am telling you I saw him cheating? And she's like, that's my husband, and basically like, mind your business, like we're together for life or death,
Right.
till death do us part. And they weren't friends anymore, so she's like, that's it, I've lost 2 good friends over me not minding my business, and I'm not doing
She's not
it
doing
anymore.
it anymore.
But I'm sorry, I'm telling. And PSA, if you are my friend and you see my husband or my boyfriend cheating, I want to know.
I want to know too.
And I want pictures and I want video.
Yep. Pictures
If
and
you're
video.
able to do so.
We have
but
smartphones now. Like there is no excuse for not
there's
having
no
it.
excuse.
Because then it seems like you're lying, or it seems like
Thank you.
you're trying to like
Either way,
you're
as
trying
a
to get
friend,
with me, or you're trying to get with my man.
as a friend, you're protecting your friend and you're also protecting your credibility.
credibility, exactly.
Because if you see it and you don't say something, now I'm looking at you sideways. Like, why didn't you say something? What about the Latin saying, don't get in marriage life? I didn't know that was a Latin saying. Did you know that? How do you say it?
Yeah, like in the Latino community, it's very common for people to just be like, mind your damn business.
Mind your business.
The black community, I'm sure, is exactly the same way too.
Kind of. Like family business is family business, or
Mhm.
couples business is couples business. But again, this is why a lot of people are abused. This is why a lot of people end up dead in marriages of, crimes of
Right.
passion, because they're not communicating what's really going on.
We need to be more open, and we need to
The truth hurts.
It does.
Literally.
We just need to. We can't just be bystanders, you know.
I can't sit by and watch my friend being messed over, especially by someone that this person has taken a vow with, or someone that this
Yep.
person is committed to. I can't sit by and watch that. Next question. Why is it so difficult for women to take short men seriously? Why is it so difficult for women?
What?
I'll I'll take that one. I think that women, I can't speak for all, but for me, when I'm with someone, I like to feel safe and I like to feel protected. And it's very difficult for me to feel that way with a man that is shorter than me, or like looking at eye level with me. There's also, I think masculinity is kind of associated with height and like
Yep.
bulk, and
It's one of the measures of masculinity.
yeah, unfortunately, I think it's awful because there are a lot of short men that are amazing that are single, and I think short men kind of fall into the category of like black women because nobody wants them.
Black women don't even want them.
Black women don't even, so they're actually underneath black.
That's messed up. Because I'm short. So if I were
Asian men
straight-
get a bad rap too, right? You don't really see a lot of because they're short. I'm sorry, Asian men. I'm sorry, Asian men and black women and short men.
They should just be together. Imagine.
I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's a safety protective.
In the gay community, it's the
masculinity.
same thing though.
Really? Nobody wants short men.
Nobody wants short men, unless that's what the person is looking for, specifically. If you're looking for somebody taller, right? There has to be people out there who are looking for
Like who? Lil' Kim?
someone shorter.
Because even the short women don't want short men. Like I'm short. I'm only 5'5". I don't want a man that's 5'5". Like you have to be at least 6 feet.
Isn't it
And that's
relative
cutting it
though to
close.
like your height? So like if you find 5'8", Short
That's still short to me. I'm sorry.
to
'Cause
somebody
then I can't wear
that's
heels, sir.
so to a woman that's 5 feet tall, 5'8" maybe okay.
Even the little petite women, they still like really short men. I don't know.
tall men.
A really tall man, excuse me. I don't know what that science is, but I'm sorry.
They can't help it.
You
They're
can't
born
help it. I was
short.
born this way, ma'am. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. I'm just gonna say
in my
it's
school is like my
perspectiveness.
biggest pet peeve.
All right, let's try to take
Wait.
a few more questions before we run out.
You can't help being short, Shirley.
I'm sorry, I didn't make the rules, you guys. All right. Should you be required? Ooh, this is a good one. Should you be required to let someone that you're dating know that you are still sleeping with your ex? Dating, you're not committed yet. You're just dating, trying to feel each other out. Should they be put on alert that yes, I am still sleeping with my ex?
I don't think it's a necessity. Like, I don't think you should have to tell anything to the person that you're dating.
I agree. You're not my man or my woman yet, so it's none of your
Right.
business.
Like, if you're not my boyfriend or girlfriend and it's not yet official, you are not mandated by anyone to tell me anything.
Do you think that it's once you break up with someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
They haven't gotten with anybody else, you haven't gotten with anybody else. Do you think you should just leave the sex alone, or is it okay for you guys to continue to mess around even though you've broken up?
I think it depends on the connection that you have with that person. You know? Like, if you're breaking up for reasons that have nothing to do with the sex, then it's not like you're diving into the problems once again.
We're there just for sex. That's it.
Like, if sex was good and sex is not the reason of the breakup, then I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
So let's add wood to the fire. So if one of the parties then becomes serious with someone, are they obligated to tell you?
No.
Really? I disagree.
I don't think so.
I think they are, because they're putting you. It's a safety
And
issue
you're
and
and
it's
if
a
you're
health
still
issue.
having sex.
They're still having sex, just friends, whatever, friends with benefits, or whatever you call it. They're having sex under the pretense that you're not in a relationship, I'm not in a relationship, but then all of a sudden, one of the two parties starts to be in a relationship, but it's still having sex with you.
So I think that's different.
It's different because now
I
you
think
put
that's
that
different.
person in an awkward position. Now that's the side dude or the side chick, and you're putting that person in safety,
Right.
because if you get caught, somebody might run up.
I think it's different when when that relationship becomes official. So, like, if you're in an official relationship and we're no longer together, you need to tell me that.
You need to tell me, okay?
But again, people are not honest. People are not
People
truthful.
are not honest. You guys have to be honest.
People
I'm
are
telling
afraid
you.
of commitment. What is happening in
What
the
is
world?
happening?
We got to wrap up.
We gotta wrap
shortly.
up. We are so out of time. But
Speaking of wrap up,
wrap it up.
make sure you wrap
Bum
it up.
bum. Please wrap it up, especially if you have multiple partners. Okay.
Right.
All right, we're out of time. I think maybe we should do this like once a month or once every couple of months, because there's a lot, and there's really not a lot of venues where people can actively participate and and get their questions answered. We are not experts by any stretch of the imagination, but we do have a lot of information because we've been through a lot of shit. So, excuse me, sorry.
And we do have a lot to say.
We have a lot to say. But we are out of time. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will see you next week on the comment section. Have a good week.
Bye.
So we have, I think we touched.
God bless my haters. God bless fake hoes. God bless these haters. Cause God only knows that.